me transitioning from Forza into automotive vlogging, that's where my passion started to steer into, is the automotive stuff. And now I find my vlog content a lot more quality than some of the last Forza videos that I was doing when I was really just kind of dragging myself out of it. It was just like, I could tell the lack of quality was there, and other people could catch on too. And so it's like, wherever your passions are, the quality of work is gonna follow, and that's where people are gonna follow after that.
Hey guys, this is Nell and welcome to the KodaCast. This is a podcast where we get to document the journey of our passion project, Kodawari Collective. On this podcast, it is my aim to share our story and the stories of the people we meet along the way. In doing so, we hope to inspire people to pursue a growth mindset and to chase after their own passions. Today's guest is Jack Ultra. Hey man, what's going on?
It's going great. This is my first time here in Toronto, and I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, welcome, man. We're happy to have you.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's funny because when you first came up here, I saw a fan come up to you.
Yeah.
And he was, man, the look on his face, he was just like, he was almost in like disbelief. He's like, "Are you Jack Ultra?" And he asked you for a signature, and yeah, that was really cool to see.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really cool for me because I'm pretty young in all of this, but I also, really not too long ago, like what feels like the other day, was someone who was in his perspective, where I would be a little fanboy of other YouTubers that I would watch or other people out there. And I know the feeling of your heart just pulsing and just waiting to go up to someone, not sure like what to say and all that stuff. So I could easily like relate quickly with that. And I feel like, I feel like that ability to be able to relate to that is something that a lot of people may not have, and it's something that I definitely want to be able to utilize whenever fans come up to me and stuff like that, and try and make their experience worth it, and you know, make sure that their anxiousness or whatever was, you know, not to go into, what would you call it, just not to turn into something worse, you know what I mean? But
have you ever had any like weird or awkward requests from fans?
I haven't had anything. I'd say the weirdest.
Have you ever had to sign like a boob or something like that, or someone's?
No, I have not. But I would say that probably one of the weirdest experiences was I was in like a recreation center hot tub, and then some father and son came up to me, and I'm just kind of like out of my element, just like in the adult hot tub, just kind of relaxing, and then someone's like, you know, saying what's up, and it really kind of took me aback. But you know, they weren't weird about it or anything like that. But that's probably the strangest thing. So who knows? There could be more to come, but so far that's what we're at.
That's cool, man. Yeah, because you know, when I think back at a younger me, when I was just getting into this passion of cars, I remember seeing certain cars that just blew me away, right? Blew me away, and I always wanted to approach those owners, talk to them, and kind of like tell them how much I love their cars. And fast forward 10, 12, 15 years, now I'm in a position where I have the cool car that they want to talk to, and I always want to remind myself that, hey, you were once in those shoes. You know, as busy as it is, as busy as life gets, take some time to be present with that person, you know, show them some kindness, and really doing that, you never know how that can change someone's life. It just takes one, I think, I believe it takes like one experience, one person to believe in you, one person to show you a moment of kindness that can really change the direction of someone's life. Yeah.
I mean, for me, it's like 100% honest. It doesn't take that much work just to put on a smile and just to be nice to someone. It's really not that much work at all. No matter how many people will come up to you and how stressful and, you know, how much all at once it may seem, it's like it's really not that much to just put in that effort to do so, and just doing that little effort to at least be really nice and provide a good experience for someone can go a really long way for them. And at the end of the day, you know, that's where I could go home feeling happy. And it's like I could never live with myself knowing that, you know, if there was a bad experience or someone didn't get like there was, I had a big group of fans around me, and I try and at least devote a lot of time to actually make some conversation with each person. And you know, I could tell if they want to talk, to try and at least, you know, talk a little bit with them. And sometimes I'll get a little bit carried away, and one of my friends literally had to bug me saying, like, this kid was about to leave, like his dad was telling him, like, this isn't worth it, like, come on, let's just go. And he was about to like get forced out, and I quickly went over and, you know, like brought him in too. And I'm just really glad it happened, because I just couldn't imagine like just standing there waiting around. I know exactly that feeling too, like standing around other big YouTubers and just waiting patiently for that moment and feeling like it's never gonna end when they're never gonna like not be busy or something like that. But just like the thought of him, like someone else just walking away from that, like, you know, that would hurt to think about. So it's always just, it doesn't take much to try and, you know, make someone else's experience worthwhile.
Yeah, man, that makes me really happy to hear that you're so, you know, so present with making sure that you try to divide your time amongst your fans and really commit to that. That's really cool.
Yeah.
But I wanna talk about where this all started, right? Just because you know, I grew up a gamer myself, and I had Sherry do some research, and she was looking into like where your journey started.
Yeah, I mean, I've always been a car person. People always ask how you get into cars. I don't have a really cool like life story answer to that. I just feel like ever since I was little, I'd look out and I'd see them as cool things. Just, you know, and I got into like exotic cars first. Like, you know, I found Lamborghinis.
Like most kids do.
Yeah, most kids do. I mean, I meet a lot of people too. It's very like either or. I meet a lot of people that don't even care about exotic cars. They're just all into more like the tuner stuff out here.
Yeah.
But I was into that first, and then I was going through. I was in middle school. And then I started to also, completely unrelated to cars, I just got into gaming, like gaming online with my friends, like, you know, Minecraft and GTA, just the freedom that GTA has. I know it's like, you know, it's an M-rated, there's a lot of bad things you could do in the game, but there's also just a lot of like freeing open world stuff you could do in the game.
Yeah.
So I would get into that, but the third element on top of automotive, gaming, and all these things together that kind of puts me where I am is I also had this like love for video and wanting to record all these good memories that I had. It's just this urge in me that like these cool memories I'm having, like I don't want them to go to waste, and I want them to be there forever and to live on and to be able to like watch them back and also share them with other people. So I had this like ism to want to record everything. So you push all that together, and once I started getting into gaming online with my friends, I wanted to record that. So I started as a mainstream gaming I created like a second mainstream gaming channel from like a car spotting channel that I also had going on at the time. And this gaming channel really started taking off with different stuff that we did. I think one of the main first segments that did really well was we would play Grand Theft Auto, but we would do like we would kind of recreate Top Gear, the famous Top Gear show in it. We'd do these challenges, like the cheapest car and stuff like that. That really like was a first big step up to what got me to where I'd be. And I think going up in YouTube is kind of all about steps that you take too. You'll have things that catch on and that kind of go viral, and you can kind of, it's okay to milk them out and do multiple of that, because what works. So you kind of milk them out, but eventually, you know, people get tired. So you also have to find another step of something else that will catch. And that's where, around where Forza Horizon 3 came out. And that's where I was like, I want this game. I'm gonna really push all my other gaming stuff aside, and I'm really gonna go all in with this game and make this game like the game that's really gonna kind of be my thing and what I want to actually be known for, because I want to combine my passions of automotive and cars and bring it into with gaming and stuff and recording it all and kind of push all my passions together. And that's what we really did with Forza Horizon 3.
But why Forza 4 though? Why that game specifically?
You mean Horizon 3?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, Horizon 3.
It's because it's just the timing on when it came out. It was looking really promising. There's gonna be like, it's fully gonna take place in the open world of Australia and bring out all these new features. So around that time, that's where I was really like committed to doing gaming YouTube and stuff. So it just happened to be like the game that landed right when I really had the passion for all of this.
So Horizon 3, is it like an open world, kind of like GTA?
Yeah, it's a very open world, like, yeah, like a GTA, but like, you know, completely car related. So you cannot like walk around and get out of your cars, and there's no guns or anything like that. It's just purely like cars and
cool.
car customizing and stuff like that. So so what we did in the game was, I also owe a lot to my friends too, because it was none of this gaming recording was completely solo.
Yeah.
It was with a really fun, good chemistry group of buddies that I happened to have built up over time.
Yeah, yeah.
And we would group together, and I would kind of organize challenges where we would do like, best cheapest car, or we would recreate Fast and Furious scenes. We would just completely mock up the cars exactly how they were in Fast and Furious, and we would like play tag and play like hide and seek in cars, do all these really fun childish like challenges with a whole bunch of people, and that was kind of my next big stepping stone into growing the channel. Horizon 3 took my channel from like 100,000 subscribers to like 700,000 subscribers. It took it a huge way.
So you were already at 100,000.
I was. Yeah. That was with all the more mainstream gaming that I started out with.
And how old were you when you were starting Horizon 3?
Around 16 years old.
16?
Yeah, around 16 years old, I want to say. So, it's like funny, all my early gaming videos when I first started, I was like 12 and 13. And you could hear it in my voice. You could picture this little squeaker voice kid. I don't know how I even got to 100,000 subscribers, knowing that like I was like prepubescent Jack up all until then.
Well, you know what? It was probably a bunch of other 12 and 13-year-olds watching you, right?
Exactly.
Because nowadays kids have access to all this content at their fingertips.
Yeah.
They have all these platforms. They can follow whoever they want to.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's really cool to kind of hear about how you guys use these games creatively, right?
Yeah.
Taking some show like Top Gear and applying the challenges between your friends, because when I think back when we were younger, you go out with your friends and you do a lot of random challenges. Oh, who can flip off this ramp with their bike go the furthest, or who can go down this hill on the sled the fastest, right? But you guys kind of use the game as an open platform to really do a lot of fun stuff. So I can see where that would entertain a lot of people who tune in for that kind of stuff, right?
Of course. So that's all those creative challenges really took us to that level. And then now you're once again on the staircase wondering what's the next big step going to be. We've done almost like every single little challenge or idea with multiple friends and cars that you can imagine in Horizon 3 and Horizon 4 combined. Once that came out too, we did the same thing. So then I was really like, I think it's always a combination of what my passions, what I want to do, but then also what is gonna work and what I guess makes sense. And I wanted to get more into mainstream automotive vlogging. I want to say, okay, we've been doing all this virtual automotive content. Let's take this automotive content, and I'm able to also be fortunate enough to use the funds that I've earned from making all these Forza videos to now buy cool enough cars in real life and kind of take what we've done virtually and bring it to reality. And so that's why I took my next step in doing automotive vlogging. And I mean, to be 100% honest, it definitely dropped things off kind of down a ways, like even the viewership, and a lot of people didn't really like vibe with it at first. But I just knew like that was the risk I want to take to kind of further the channel in the long run, because I think you milk the steps of what works, but you can only milk it so far, like I was saying earlier. So that's where now I'm like kind of working on a new staircase on building myself in the automotive vlogging scene. And which I also did create a separate gaming channel to still at least have that there, so that the people that still did only watch me for Forza and stuff like that, when we have new Forzas and stuff coming out, they could still watch our gaming content along those lines. So that's kind of where I'm at now.
Yeah, man, because I think as you evolve as a person, as you develop, and you're interested in certain different things, it's a lot of people will generally stay in the comfort zone, and they're gonna be like, you know what? I built my whole platform on the gaming. I want to stay here. This new territory is like, I don't know if my following is gonna like it. I don't know this and that. Have you always kind of been someone who gravitates towards really chasing after what you want, or is that something that was instilled by you by like someone that you grew up with, your parents? Friends?
I've definitely always tried to chase after what I want. And when people some of the most common questions is, being in the YouTube position that I am, people always ask, how do I get there and how do I start out and do all of that? And passion is a real strong element that comes in with that, especially with the level that I've gotten to, because everything that I've done, I've had that passion for. I mean, it was like, even like, I was nowhere near as successful in school, and it was hard for me to really be passionate about that. I mean, it's also even harder when like you're building this successful YouTube thing and then you're also trying to combat school at the same time. So it's hard to have my passion there. And I think that lack of passion showed because, you know, I didn't get the top of the line grades and stuff that I could have. But when you follow your right passions on YouTube, you're gonna end up making quality content. And the quality is they're going to show for other people. They're going to notice that quality, and they're going to watch and buy into it. And that's the same thing with me transitioning from Forza into automotive vlogging. That's where my passion started to steer into, is the automotive stuff. And now I find my vlog content a lot more quality than some of the last Forza videos that I was doing when I was really just kind of dragging myself out of it. It was just like, I could tell the lack of quality was there, and other people could catch on too. And so it's like, wherever your passions are, the quality of work is gonna follow, and that's where people are gonna follow after that. So yeah.
Because I think, you know, in this day and age, in our culture right now, it's we're so accustomed to getting everything like this. Everything quickly. You know, you order food, it comes to your door. Amazon is next day, same day, all that stuff, right? So, but there's certain kind of core themes in life that don't really change, and that I think it takes time to be good at something.
It does.
It takes time to build an audience. Yeah,
I've heard from people that the average time it takes to like fully kind of like make it somewhere on YouTube is like 3 years. That's a long time, and that's a lot to put on like a little kid that wants to put his weak goal of, oh, I'm gonna become a YouTuber now. It's really hard for them to like look, you have to actually be consistent with this, and that's why like 99% of the people that come up to me or they've introduced me a channel that they just started, I never really see it go anywhere, is because it's hard to be that dedicated. And another like simple thing that I would advise someone wanting to start out a channel like that is that you have to be consistent, and that consistency, I would advise that you be consistent, and it doesn't matter how consistent, in a way like it could either be every day, it could be every other day, or it could be every month. As long as there's just that consistency and you keep to it, then that's going to give you higher odds at being successful on YouTube.
Yeah, man, because I think it's so easy for you to compare yourself to other people who have like, maybe they're far along in the journey than you've been, right? You know, you're comparing your step 1 to their step 50, and it's easy to be like, man, like this is hard, right? But I think if you remind yourself to just focus on what you're doing, to focus on just the discipline of sticking to being consistent, which is very, very hard, and just focus on, you know, just being patient. Because it's gonna take, like you said, 3 years to build a channel. You know, like even our journey, we've only started YouTube for like a year. We've tried a lot of things, and we're still trying to figure out like what it is. But we know the one thing that we have to focus on is just be, regardless of what direction we take. Obviously, we want to focus it around our passion, right? But it's got to be consistency, right? And in order to be consistent, you got to be passionate about what you're doing. Because when it gets hard, when it gets like, you know what, I don't feel like doing this anymore. If you're passionate about it, you're gonna fight through it. You're gonna really double down and be like, you know what, this is what I believe in. This is how I want to go on, and yeah, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, 100%.
You know, when you touched on a point earlier where you were talking about how you were kind of juggling two things. You know, you were in school, not very passionate about what you're doing there, and then you were also building your YouTube channel, right? At any point, did your support system, your parents, what were they thinking? What was their feedback like?
Yeah, I mean, my mom has always been super pressuring on making sure I went to college and making sure I pursued school on top with that. And she was definitely like, you know, oh, it could be easy to I'm sure it'd be fine just juggling both. But the closer I got to college, the more I knew like it was going to be hard, and I just didn't know if I could do it. And I actually really dragged it on for a while. When I was in my senior year of high school, I was planning on just taking a gap year so then I took that gap year, and then of course at the end of the gap year comes to the time of like figuring out your college and all that stuff. And I actually did apply, and I actually got myself set up to one of them in Seattle, and it was literally throughout my orientation of doing it where I was just like, I just have nothing in me for this. Like it's just like, and that lack of it is gonna show. Like I knew that I'm almost glad that, you know, if I went through it, I knew I would have not done well, because just that lack of cariness for it just wasn't there, because my passions were with other things. And you know, I'm a firm believer that, like, you know, you go to college to really, like, if you have kind of a plan, or you know, you have a goal of what you want to get out of it and stuff like that, then it's really important and it's worth it. But for me, it's like I just didn't know what I would be going there for and stuff. So I was lucky by my parents that yes, they pressured it, but I also did have the freedom to, at the end of the day, make that decision on my own. And so I did, and that's where I decided that, you know, I'm just going to continue this YouTube pathway and keep going. And it's definitely like, kind of putting school away definitely kind of made me, like, it opened me out to this life path where it's like you're just all of a sudden stuck into the open sea, and you don't know where to go, and all of a sudden now life is at your fingertips and you just have to pursue that. And that's probably the most daunting and kind of scary part, because when you are in school, you're on a path, and you know, you could just wake up every day, and yeah, it might be annoying to do it, but you're on this path, so you kind of like feel you know exactly where you're going. But so ever since then, you know, that's where it's just trying to figure out. But I'm definitely glad, you know, I've definitely been trying to utilize my maximum amount of time and effort into putting into YouTube, and it's my full-time thing now. So yeah,
there's a lot of pressure on kids to really know what they're doing coming out of high school, you know. And I think I've heard this often, that it is very beneficial to kind of, because you, like you said, when you're in school, you have this path laid out for you. You think that, okay, I have to follow everything that my friends are doing. Like that's the normal, right? But sometimes when you're conflicted, sometimes if you don't know what you're doing, which is very normal, you know, like I'm 32, and sometimes I still don't know what I'm doing. I'm still figuring out. But that's what I feel like life is supposed to be.
Yeah.
But you took the gap year. That was after grade 12, or how does it?
Yeah, that was after grade 12.
Yeah. And do you think because you took the time to kind of just pause and really find your direction, that was a big reason why you went?
Yeah, it definitely, like, well, it gave me an insight to what life would be like without school, and I noticed, I was like, you know, I think I am ready to at least like tackle these adult steps and kind of pursue and go on without it and stuff. And so far I've been holding up all right, so you know, we'll see how it goes from here.
Yeah, man, you seem to be doing pretty well, yo. That's cool. So you started, gaming channel, and then you jumped over to sorry, that siren's a little distracting, but we're gonna work our way through it.
Yeah.
But gaming channel, and then into automotive vlogging.
Yeah.
Right? You started the vlogging at what age?
I started my first vlog when I was like 16 as well.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's hard to watch the old vlogs too, just my old, it's so awkward at the beginning. Vlogging is one of those, like, it's definitely, you look at people and you think, oh, that's the easiest job in the world, but what I would say to that is, why don't you just vlog in public for the first time? Just try it.
Yeah.
Just try it and see if you can't be awkward at it whatsoever, then sure, you win, and you know, it's easy, whatnot, but no, it's hard for everyone to just pick up the camera and just start talking to themselves in front of other people.
Yeah, it's very unnatural.
Yeah.
It's very awkward.
Yeah.
Just listening to my own voice back on our podcast, I'm like,
that took me a while too.
That's what I sound like, and I'm just like, wow, that's what my friends hear me as.
Yeah.
It's really weird, and most people struggle with kind of stepping into that discomfort, right? But on another level, getting a camera, pointing it around, standing in the middle of public, just like talking to yourself, it's difficult, man. It takes a lot of, I guess, passion
Yeah.
If you're gonna fight through that and really chase after and continue building that skill, that craft of you know, bringing people along for your journey, right?
Yeah, I mean, you also feel a little bit embarrassed too. They kind of get vloggers get like a bad rap in that, like, you know, you hear the phrase TikToker too, and you immediately think of like, oh, what is this kid doing and all that stuff. So it's like, when you're vlogging out in public, you assume everyone's judging you as well, because, you know, they could probably know what you're doing or you're trying to do something for YouTube, but you assume it's a negative thing that you're out there doing that.
Yeah.
But, you know, who knows? I've noticed that it's definitely been, you know, it's a way more accepted thing than it was 5 years ago.
Yeah.
So, and it's becoming more and more so.
Yeah, man, it's our culture's making a shift.
Yeah.
And it's for in a good direction, I believe.
Yeah.
But I think that's always been like that. I think people are so quick to label someone like yourself. Hey, Jack, he's a YouTuber. You know, I'm gonna put him exactly into this mold.
Yeah.
And he does this, this, and this, right? But the purpose of this podcast is for me to really learn more about, okay, yeah, you're a YouTuber, but what else do you do?
Yeah.
What other challenges what other stories can you tell us that will make us more relatable to be like, man, you know, like Jack's cool because he's done gaming, and you know he bought his first house when he was.
Yeah,
How old were you?
I think I would have been 19 because it was last year.
Yeah. Okay. You know what? I'm really sorry that I keep asking you all these age questions because it still just blows me away that you're 20.
Yeah.
It really does, like, that's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah. It's crazy to think.
When did you transition from the vlogging into drifting? Do you still do both?
So drifting was always something I like pushed away because I knew like, oh, it's gonna be an expensive sport and hobby, and I'm just not sure if I'm ready for something like that. But my friends around me really started getting into it, and I really knew that, like, you know what, I was lucky. I actually happened to build up some tire sponsors on top of that, and then I'm like, you know what, I finally have the garage space to maybe pick up a drift car and keep it there and all that. So around last winter, I set out to go pursue that, like, I'm definitely gonna go find myself a drift car and get out there on track. And currently my real goals with drifting is to really still just treat it as a hobby sport, and maybe like if I ever to get competitive, do like team tandeming with my buddies and stuff. But I currently don't have any sights of like going pro or being real competitive, because drifting is a really fun hobby, and we fear that if you go super competitive, it can kind of ruin that fun because you're just more stressed out than enjoying just, you know, the sake of hitting out on the track. But I set out to go find a car, and I knew that whatever I wanted to do with drifting, I wanted to give this car character, and I wanted it to stand out in a good way, because there are two sides of drifting. There are people that would say, just do it for yourself. Don't worry about like showing off, or don't, you know, just do it for yourself. And I agree, you should do it for yourself, but I also see drifting as a style show. It's kind of like when you watch a dance show on TV or something like that. Drifting is people performing in cars. You're putting on a show for other people, whether you're doing stunts and stuff like that for other people. And what good is a stunt gonna be if your car looks like complete crap? So I see a lot of guys out there, and you know, a seat time car is one thing, so that's great. But if you're just completely like, you know, you don't put in anything in your car whatsoever to make it look aesthetically pleasing, then, you know, I wanted to at least make sure that I put out something that's memorable, and also for the sake of content too, to, you know, kind of capitalize on that. So I had this envision that I'm gonna make my drift car pink, and I'm also give it a nickname. You know, giving anything a nickname makes it memorable, gives it character. We went with pink and blue, and we nicknamed it the Cotton Candy Machine. And we also, you know, came up with a whole new merch line of style points to go along with that, and kind of put two and two together and really build a brand with this Cotton Candy Machine drift car that we did. And that's what I'm currently doing. And frankly, once we like finally finished delivery on it too, I looked back at it and I was like, man, this might be the coolest car I've ever created. The lowest budget car I've ever built, like, on, you know, coming from R8s and Skyline GTRs, all that stuff. But it's just like there's so much passion and a lot that's just all filled into it, and I'm super happy with that car. So
yeah, because it's cool to hear your take on the drift scene, because I don't really know much about it. it's
Well, I've heard around that it is the fastest growing motorsport right now.
really.
And there's and it's really being tackled on by the youth and a lot of people getting into this.
Okay.
And I think it is, it's really something cool. I got to ride in a couple like circuit racing, like GT cars. I've been driven some laps in those, and they're impressive and it's fun, but it's just like when you're riding in it, it's just like acceleration, and then it's like braking, and then you're getting tossed back.
Yeah.
When it's drifting, if you're in a drift car where they know exactly what they're doing, it could be one of the smoothest, like, but at the same time super fun rides.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I just see myself wanting to get into this more rather than like GT racing. Plus GT racing takes a lot of money to get up there. I mean, you got like people racing Ferraris and stuff like that. So drifting is at least affordable to really start out with.
That's cool, man. No, I've learned a lot just from the conversation we've had so far.
Yeah.
Would you say that's still your favorite car to date? As to
A lot of people ask me like, what's the favorite car out of the fleet that I have right now? I'd say the most exciting car to still take out is probably the latest R8 that I got, just because I do value things that are refined and things that are reliable. It's a lot of stuff that a lot of people may not consider when they see a car cool, but a reliability is, once you grow up and you go through enough car problems and stuff, you learn to really love it. The Audi is a car where it's like, it's got all these luxury features. It feels like a spaceship inside when you take it at night, and you know that no matter what, you're gonna have a good day, it's gonna go fast, and it's not gonna break down on you. So it really feels like a treat every time I get to take that car out. It's like, it really makes the night feel special. So that is like something, that is something I really value in that car. Granted, taking out my Skyline or taking out my drift car is just as fun, but you also got to know, like, a hose could pop or something could break, and you got to never know. Your night could end on the back of a tow truck, which is nowhere near as fun as what you set up to.
I think the biggest thing for car enthusiasts to explain to everyone else is that when you love cars this much, you have a specific car to serve a specific purpose for a specific day of the week. So my NSX, it provides a certain experience for me, right? When I'm with the family, I pick a different car. When I'm with just Sherry, I'm in a different car. When I want to have fun or whatever, then you would take your drift car out, whatever it is, right?
Yeah, I'm really glad you say that, because that's exactly what I think when I go into picking out my cars too, because I do value diversity. I'm lucky enough to have 4 different cars, but I ask myself, like, when I'm going into each one, like, what would I take this out for? And I can name like each one. Like the Audi has the purpose of taking it out to a really fancy car show or going to like Monterey Car Week, and being able to at least also get into the community of other exotic car owners and taking inspiration from them. The drift car, you go take it out on a weekend drifting. The Skyline is kind of like it would be really fitting for a show like this, a good tuner show or a good day out just like cruising on the beach. And I have my Focus RS, which is just my daily, so it's the grocery getter. And it's also just when I need to be somewhere, but it doesn't really matter what I need to be in. Even though I'm lucky, that thing is pretty cool for what it is, but it's still gonna be like, that'll be my just from A to B kind of car. So that's why I usually don't try and get 2 of the like exact same thing, because when you get things of the, like, that's what actually happened when I got my S14. I kind of questioned, it's like, now I have the S14 and an R32, and both they're different, but they do like kind of function in the same kind of vibe. Like I could take both out for a car show like this, or I could take both out to cruise out with other like older JDM cars. So it's like when you have kind of 2 for the same purpose, then it's like hard to justify like what are you going to use this for. So I value like how having different cars for different purposes. It's a spoiling thing, but it's nice to be able to have.
Because I've been trying to explain to Sherry that the NSX is great, but I have a 3-year-old. When I'm out with Sherry and I'm out with Anderson, I want a car that the 3 of us can go out that is rear-wheel drive, that has a seat for Anderson, and something like an M3, like an E46 or a 911 with the seats in the back. There's a very specific purpose for that, and
I feel like that's got to be easier to convince her than trying to convince her to maybe keep the 2-seater NSX that has no purpose for the kids. I know.
This one's red. This one's a little bit more flashy. But yeah, man. Jack, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for making time to sit down with us. You know, I hope you enjoy the rest of your trip.
Yeah, I know. We just got here. I haven't seen anything, and the
Yeah.
coolest part about being here is that every single car is something that I've probably never seen before in my life.
Yeah.
Whereas, you know, I'm from Seattle, and I've probably seen at least, you know, 70% of the cars that are all there, and I'm used to seeing them. So I'm really excited to just go walk around and see what's all here.
Yeah, man, walk around, check it out. I think Toronto and the GTA has one of the dopest car scenes in the world.
Yeah.
But if you need any pointers, any suggestions for food, for anything, feel free. You know, our collective is here for you. And yeah, thanks again, man.
Of course. Well, I'm glad we did this.
All right.